bit. Andi, I want to talk about growing up in South Africa. What is it like? I mean, you know how your children are growing up in America. What's the difference?
You know, it was huge. And without getting into the politics of it all, I was growing up in apartheid South Africa.
Yeah.
I was fortunate enough to be on the privileged side, and therefore, you know, as much as we were protected in a way, you know, about what was going on, my family, thank goodness, was very liberal.
Yeah.
And my father opened the only nuclear medical department in the whole of Africa that was multiracial. He suffered a lot of consequence because of that, but he opened, I think, my brother, my sister, and myself, he opened our eyes into realizing that there was more to life than what the South African government at that time was trying to make us believe, which I'm very grateful for, because it taught me throughout going to school there, you know, that everybody's equal. It didn't matter the color of your skin. And the fact is that everyone should be equal. So it was a very difficult time, but it was a very influential time, because we actually, I mean, I would write exams with tear gas coming through the window, you know, and it was a tough time, but yet it made us appreciate what our, you know, African brothers and sisters were suffering at the same time, just because it was legislated. Yeah. I had left the country at a very tumultuous time for South Africa in the history, and unfortunately wasn't there when Mandela was released. I did get to see it on TV, which of course was the most mind-boggling, most moving, I think, event that South Africa has really ever experienced, at least in my lifetime. And what was amazing was that nobody believed that the country could change in such a short time.
Yes.
And it has.
Yes.
And I can say that by going back. Whenever I go back, I'm not sure if I'm going home or I've just left home.
Yeah.
But it is a different country today. And I am so proud of South Africa to have pulled itself up by its bootstraps under the unbelievable leadership of Nelson Mandela. And it's become an unbelievable country today.
Yes.
So I'm proud to be South African.
Has that... Andi, all yours. Has that your upbringing anything to do with the book you eventually wrote, Muslim Cleavage?
Yes and no.
Yes and
it certainly has influenced the way I bring up my children, and I do believe that, you know, that thank goodness America, you know, recognizes that everybody there's equal opportunity, at least in this country, which of course a lot of people in South Africa did not have growing up. So it's helped me, you know, in terms of bringing up my children to basically recognize that, which I'm very grateful for. It helped in that my co-writer is a Pakistani Muslim, and I am a South African Jew.
Okay.
So from that point...
What a combination.
What a combination,
you girls,
absolutely.
how did you meet?
Well, it's a he.
Okay.
Omar Ansur is a he.
Okay.
And he and I used to work together many years ago at an institution, a financial institution in the city when I used to live there.
Yeah.
And he and I he conceived the original story, I wrote it. It was pretty much a collaboration, 100%.
Do you have a background in writing, Andi?
I have no background in writing. I just have a huge interest and a creative mind, if I like to say that myself, if I can. And therefore, the two of us we both had this dream. It was a shared dream. And we set about writing it. And as you mentioned, the Pakistani Muslim and the South African Jew.
Now, when you guys got together, I mean, he had the story.
Yes, he had conceived of the idea.
Okay. What's the story about?
It is
just, I mean, you don't want to give the house away, but...
Okay, it's an inspirational tale about hope. And this transcends cleavages of all kinds, political, economic, geographic, class, and most importantly, is social. And I think we had a shared experience in the sense that I tried to learn Urdu, which is the language of Pakistan. I tried to learn a lot about the whole culture and the whole society, as it were.
Have you ever been to Pakistan?
And the irony is, I've never been. But yet, I think that I traveled there through, you know, writing this book and through the research done, and obviously with under the guidance of Omar and his family, who obviously are Pakistani.
I was kind of hoping that cleavage also would have something to do with the cleavage.
It does. It does,
Okay.
absolutely. And if you see by the cover, the woman on the cover is wearing a scarf.
Is that you?
No, a lot of people do believe that. And I do have what's called the Putan coloring.
Yeah.
In the sense, those are the northern Pakistanis. She's very, very much, it looks like a Putan as well, but it's not me, and her eye color is different from mine. But a lot of people have made the mistake. But the point is, if you look at the scarf, the headscarf, it's called a dupatta.
Okay.
And a dupatta is a headscarf that can be worn in any different way in the society.
Okay.
And it's either covered the head, covered the face, or just over the shoulders, or a little bit of hair exposed. And we do cover that in the book. We obviously speak about the Muslim cleavage. Is this a cleavage? It's very provocative for a man to
Yes.
see just a
Yes.
woman's eyes.
Yes.
Or is it her whole face? So we do obviously explore that option and explore that aspect of society.
Very interesting subject. Very interesting.
Especially right now.
Boy.
It's very
Andi,
topical.
You know what? I'm getting signals. I have to take a break. We'll be back in a moment. And the American Dream Show of journeying women, beautiful Montauk overlooking the ocean. By the way, the South Fork of Long Island, with Andrea Parks, who is the Director of Promotions for the North Fork Council. So that's who she is during the daytime to pay her bills. And then at night she writes, or she wrote, this wonderful book together with Omar Anzour. Actually, Andi wrote it as Andi Levin, but the story came from Omar Anzour. Am I pronouncing that correctly?
That's correct,
Yes?
exactly.
Andi, give us a little bit more about the book. Why should we read that?
Well,
This book, why should we read it?
first of all, it's topical. I mean, with what's going on in Egypt and obviously North Africa and the Middle East per se right now, there's a strong indication that governments, I think, should start seeing, and without getting political, should start recognizing that if they just gave the youth what they're looking for, which is food and shelter and, basic needs, that there would actually be less problems,
Yes.
should I say, in the Middle East than there are right now. I mean, take a look at Egypt. In just 3 weeks, there was this, through social networking, it revolutionized an entire country.
Yes.
So while this book is not political per se, it exposes the political cleavages in society. Not just in Pakistan, because this story does crisscross the world. It's obviously based in modern day Pakistan, but it does crisscross the world into London, into New York, and obviously around Pakistan as such. So we try to uncover the political cleavages, as I mentioned earlier, the economic, the geographic, the societal cleavages. And it's not just applicable just to Pakistani society. It's applicable to the world. Even in our own society here in America, there are cleavages.
Oh, no.
So it's a very topical book. I think it also exposes what a lot of people throughout the world have got misconceptions about who the Pakistani people are. There's over 170 million of them, which are vastly misunderstood. And they're a very passionate people. They're very passionate about everything they do in life, whether it's their culture, their food, their cricket, which is the national sport. So I think it gives people an insight, a window into another society which a lot of people are unaware of. Exactly.
Because we are definitely misinformed or underinformed by our press.
100%, exactly.
Underinformed is the right word.
Absolutely.
Because the stuff that makes the news, who cares if this particular actor, we don't want to say names, has a drinking or drug problem or not.
Correct.
And we don't really get the news we want.
Absolutely, and it's a very good point, Ingrid. And in fact, the media itself has taken a lot out of proportion. So this is to try and give you another side of the coin.
That's why I am so for keeping national public radio really keeping up, give them the financing, keep on going, because that's the only way for us to get books like that, like yours, or really out on a national level.
Right.
Because they are choosing, our American press is choosing quite often what they feel should be a drama story.
Correct.
You know, we want the information.
Absolutely. And this is what this does. Despite it being fiction, it has a lot of non-fiction to explain to the reader what really goes on, as you say.
So fiction means every fiction is created after characters which were eventually living at one point.
Correct.
But we don't want to go there.
Well, actually, there are 4 lead characters in this book, and I am none of them, yet all of them.
Okay.
So obviously there's certain characters in here that are based on people that might have been peripheral, that might have been integral, but these are real stories.
You had to identify.
Absolutely.
To write this book, you had to identify.
Absolutely.
And you were the person who was able to do that.
I did my best, and I was male, I was female, I was old, I was young, you know, and it was a very, very, very good experience for me, and I guess as a writer, to actually have to delve into all those different roles. And yes, obviously, you know, one had to, you know, pull any kind of information that we could from experience, whether it was from Omar's experience or people that were peripheral to him, or me, even whether it was South African or American, and pull it into a different context. So yes, there's influences in there, but it's
Andi,
not me.
How many languages do you speak?
Oh, I speak English, very poor Afrikaans, very poor Italian, smattering of Zulu, and a smattering of Urdu. I would say that about covers it.
What's Zulu?
Zulu is, there's 11 national African languages in South Africa, and Zulu is the most widespread. It is the language in South Africa that is spoken most widely.
Can you say something in Zulu?
What do you want me to say?
Well, like, wish us a great day today and that we have a beautiful, beautiful day.
Tsamahandle, and that is actually more in Tswana, because that's more, it's like I'm trying to give you the most unbelievably open expression of welcome, which they say, you can say, I'm trying to get you into South Africa, Sawabona, which is Kunjani. It's a nice open greeting that everyone understands, no matter whether it's Zulu, Tswana, Xhosa, any of the other languages.
Okay.
But Sawabona is the most universal of all.
And all embracing.
All embracing. Welcome. Exactly. It's a very good expression.
Andi, tell me about your boys.
Well, I have 2 boys and a girl.
Okay.
Okay, 2 boys, 13, Daniel, and a Nicholas, who's Nikki at 11, and my little 9-year-old Katie, who is going on 29. Okay, and they literally are my peanuts, and I think I dedicated the book to them, to my 3 peanuts. They literally rule my roost. So when I have downtime, which is not often, I spend it obviously with my 3 beautiful children. Yes. And they rock my world.
They rock your world. And Andi, what's the website for this book?
It is www.muslimcleavage.com, and the book itself will be available on Amazon.com and BarnesandNoble.com. All of this and the website will be launched on March 31st, so in just 3 short weeks.
Great.
Please do visit our website.
I am so delighted that I got to meet you. I think you are such an amazing, amazing woman, mother of 3. And this book, guys, I got to tell you, I'm finally going to take home today after she signs it for me. And then I am going to dig in. And I would like eventually someday to meet Omar Anzur. Maybe we can arrange that too. And Andi Levin is, one more time, the author of the book, Andrea Parks, promoting the North Fork of Long Island, our twin fork.
Correct.
And we are saying goodbye to everybody. Please check us out. Check out Andi's website, which is running on the screen. And we love you all. And American Dream.